This week on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast, I'm sharing with you 40 life lessons I've learned over the last 40 years I've been on this planet. And today I want to talk about another money topic, which is generosity. A number of years ago, I've mentioned this on the podcast many times before because I absolutely love this book. It's incredible, especially if you are religious inclined, if you're Christian, especially. A book I read by Randy Alcorn called Money, Possessions, and Eternity. Excellent book. And when I finished the book, I was inspired to create my own set of money principles. It's the Michike Family Money Principles, and it's things that sort of guide our decision making. I've talked about it before too on the podcast about what those principles are about lifestyle and giving and work and choices that are made and things we want to teach to our children, estate planning things. It's very detailed and specific. Lifestyle, income, work, very all-encompassing. But it's helpful to have a set of family money principles because then it can guide some of the bigger and smaller decisions that you make as a family. And one of the quotes that I love from this book, from Randy Alcorn, he says, "When we die and stand before God, it won't matter how many people knew our name, how many people called us great, and how successful we were in the eyes of the world. We will stand before God and have to answer for what has been accomplished for Him and His kingdom through our lives. And that includes the wealth, however great or small, the wealth He has entrusted to us." And I think right there, that sort of encompasses my viewpoint on generosity and giving, is that whatever money and wealth we have, however much that is or however little that is, there is a purpose for that. And we are called to use our money and use our gifts, time, talent, and treasure to benefit other people and to further God's kingdom here on earth. And so if we're not doing that, especially if you're a Christian and you're not doing that or doing enough of that, this quote from this book really brings things into perspective, because a lot of us pursue things that are opposite of what God would want us to do. We pursue status and position and wealth and power and all these things that don't really matter in the end. Like you said, it won't matter how many people knew our name, how many people called us great, how successful we were in the eyes of the world. None of that matters in the long run. And we have to think about eternity too in the long run, not just while we're here on this earth. So that really guides what I strive to do in terms of generosity and being mindful of not just using the money that I have for myself or my family directly, but how do I benefit the world through the resources that have been provided to me by Almighty God. The second thing about generosity that I've learned is that being generous without expectation for getting anything in return is a really powerful way to ensure that you never let your money control you. It doesn't necessarily mean like handing out money, because you can be generous in lots of ways, and just thinking of others and asking yourself, how can I bless this person? How can I make sure that this person feels seen and heard and understood? And sometimes that's as simple as just listening to them and asking questions and letting them talk. Like, sounds basic, but so many of us go through our days without ever really being listened to or understood. So if I can do that for somebody else, that's also being generous. And I think, there are times where I've maybe brought a meal to somebody, or a friend of mine, her son was recently dealing with some health issues and they had to go to the hospital. He's fine, but it was scary. And so I was thinking about her the next day after I had found out about this. And I thought, well, I'm going to text her. I'm going to tell her that I'm thinking about her and praying for her and that I hope everything's okay. And I think too many of us, it's very easy to think about somebody, but then not take the next step, not send them a card or send them a text or say hello, or, it's just, we're all busy and it's hard to keep that top of mind and prioritize that. So that is all under the umbrella of being generous. How can I be outside of myself and help somebody else feel seen and heard and understood? So I try to do that, even though I'm still, as much as the next person, very inwardly focused as well. Going back to money, if you let it go. I talked about this earlier in the week, the analogy of holding sand in your hand. And if you hold it there lightly, it'll stay there. But if you start to squeeze it by keeping everything for yourself and not being generous, then you lose it. Then your money can control you. But if you're generous with your money and generous with how you exist in this world in general, you're less likely to let your money control you. I don't even think it's possible to be generous and also be controlled by your money, because the people that I see who are generous, they always seem to be okay. Even if they're like seemingly recklessly generous, they're going to be taken care of. And I have to remind myself of that too. So we don't hold on too tightly to what we have. We want to let it go and be generous. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Mitchell, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.